Hi guys, I'm Darren, and in this video I'm going to show you a simple way to have racing mode always active. So firstly, let's explain what racing mode is. It's a mode that you can put some Archer and tandem receivers in that allow it to update quicker. So instead of being the regular 7 millisecond latency, it now drops down to 4 milliseconds. So it's a bit of a quicker link. The other question is, why do we need this when there's an option for always on underneath racing mode? Well, let me show you. So I have a model set up on my X18 which I want to use racing mode for. Now, if we go into the RF section, we can see the option for racing mode right here. And we can set this to always on, but if I click that and come out, it flashed up quickly, but let's just do a power cycle. And you can see that a box has popped up saying racing mode is unsupported. And that will happen all the time until you have a link. So what can we do to avoid this, but without having to use a switch or anything like that to set up racing mode? Right, this is actually pretty straightforward. The first thing that you need to do is set up your telemetry. So make sure that you have your model plugged in and connected to power with the receiver, and then head into telemetry and click the button to discover all sensors. It doesn't matter if you're using a flight controller or not, we really just need these receiver sensors right here. So once we have our sensors, we're going to come back out. I'm actually going to just remove the power from the model at this point. And we're going to create some logical switches. So I'll use the jog wheel just so it's easier for you guys to see. And what we're going to do is add a new logical switch. And what I'm going to call this one is connected. And what we're going to do is set up an AND. So for value, what we're going to do is actually choose telemetry. That's right at the bottom. So we'll choose telemetry, and then we're going to hop in. With access, we can use VFR. If you haven't got VFR, you can use RSSI. But I'm going to use VFR and come back out. So if you're only using an access receiver, at this point, you can go into here and set this to those lines. Because this is I'm actually going to set it up to telemetry, and I'm going to set it up to the VFR for the 900 megahertz side. So we have a double connection. Next, what we want to do is add a delay before active. So I usually just set this to 1 second. So at this point, you could think, well, we can just use this logical switch here to connect up. But if you do lose any signal, then it will disable the racing mode, which isn't really what we want. So what I'm going to do is set up a second logical switch and call it racing mode on. And we're going to set this switch to a sticky, which again is pretty much right at the bottom. So our on trigger, we're going to use a logical switch, and we're going to use our connected switch. So when that becomes active, it turns on our sticky. And for the off position, we're actually just going to use those 3 little lines. So basically it doesn't have an off. So as soon as we get our connection via either the RSSI or the VFR, after a second, this will activate and it won't switch off until you either shut the transmitter down or change to a different model. So next up, what we want to do is go back into our RF system and go down to racing mode. So you're going to change that from always on to a logical switch, and we're going to change that to racing mode on. So that's all we need to do. You saw it flashed up with racing mode not supported. Don't worry about that. Just to show you it working, I'm going to power the transmitter off and power it back on. So you'll see we're not getting any warnings whatsoever. The model is not connected to power at the minute, so we have 0 RSSI. So let me just give it some power. we'll see the RSSI pop right up. Racing mode is now active. Okay, it's all set, all good. So if I disconnect power, you'll see the RSSI has completely dropped on both channels, but no error message. We plug back in, the RSSI will pop back up. We have telemetry recovered with the sound on, and yet we're still in racing mode. So there we have a nice simple way to make racing mode always active when we want to use it, and we don't have to do anything other than apply power to our models. I did demonstrate this on a quad, but fast planes, spec wing racing, that sort of thing may also benefit from racing mode. So hopefully you guys will find this interesting. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did like the video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to help get this video out to more people so they can learn how to do this little neat trick too. But also other videos I have may interest you and give you tips on other things, so it's well worth checking out and taking a look. Thank you for your time, guys. Fly your models like you stole them. See you next time.